This is Mrs. Incantalupo, and welcome to the Regents Review. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few test-taking tips for the Living Environment Regents. Remember to bring your ID with you on test-taking day. Bring two number 2 pencils and a pen. Remember to leave all of your electronic devices at home. Please be on time. In addition to these sessions, you may visit www.nysedregents.org for further Regents review. This podcast is not all-inclusive of everything you have learned, but a review. If you need further assistance, please consult your textbook, review book, or ask your teachers for help. Make sure you attend any and all review sessions your teacher schedules. Let's get started. Ecology is the study of how organisms interact with each other and within the environment. Our environment is referred to as the natural world or the biosphere. The biosphere is the portion of the earth in which all living things exist. The ecosystem is composed of both the living and non-living things within the environment and how they impact or affect one another. Species have survived because of their ability to adapt to a changing environment. Organisms interact with their resources within the environment. Some parts of the environment that species interact with are living things or biotic factors. Biotic factors include bacteria, plants, animals, fungi, and protists. The abiotic factors or non-living portion of the environment with which we interact include oxygen, water, temperature, sunlight, soil, and carbon dioxide. The abiotic factors determine what types of organisms can live and survive in a particular environment. Abiotic factors are also called limiting factors. For example, in a desert, there is little water. Water is a limiting factor. Only certain organisms can grow in a desert. Those that can survive with little water, such as cactus, are adapted to the environment with little water. An oak tree could not live in the desert. The biosphere contains diverse environments within which organisms can adapt to and survive in. All organisms within the living environment that belong to a single species living within a certain area are called a population. In nature, all populations grow in size. Usually, more organisms are created than can survive. For example, if there are not enough resources such as food, some organisms will die. Food is an example of a limiting factor. Anything that slows down or stops a population from growing is called a limiting factor. Predators are also limiting factors and can control the size of a population. Both abiotic and biotic factors can be limiting factors. Some resources are renewable, meaning it is possible for them to be replenished, such as food and sunlight, while others are non-renewable. Once they are gone, that's it. An example is fossil fuel, oil, and natural gas. Competition for resources limits the amount organisms that the environment can sustain or provide for. A population cannot grow indefinitely because the environment cannot support it. As a population increases, its rate of growth slows. You know what I meant before. The number of organisms that a particular environment can support is its carrying capacity. The population of different organisms living in a certain area are called a community. The ecosystem makes up the community and its physical environment, including all the biotic and abiotic factors. All the ecosystems on Earth are linked together. They are not independent, but depend on one another. A habitat is the particular part of the environment in which each type of organism within an ecosystem lives. This is the organism's home. Each species plays a role in the ecosystem. This is called the organism's niche or niche. Only one species at a time can occupy a particular niche, otherwise competition exists. The species that is more suited to the niche will force the other out or eliminate it. A balanced ecosystem is one in which each species occupies a particular niche. Let's take an example. All the box turtles in a pond area are called a population. The box turtle lives in a community with frogs, fish, algae, plants, and other living things around the pond in the community. The box turtle interacts with both living and non-living things around the pond in the ecosystems. The box turtle's home is the pond area. This is its habitat. Energy in the ecosystem is generated by the sun. The sun is the major source of energy in the ecosystem. Energy flows in one direction, from green plants and algae to herbivores, to carnivores and decomposers. Autotrophs, such as green plants and algae, make their own food from the sun in a process called photosynthesis. Herbivores, or primary consumers, eat plants to obtain energy. These are sometimes called omnivores. Carnivores, or secondary consumers, eat omnivores. Organisms that cannot make their own food and eat other organisms are called heterotrophs. Decomposers are important in an ecosystem because they break down dead material and recycle them into the ecosystem. Materials such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and water are reused in the ecosystem. Cellular respiration and photosynthesis contribute to the cycling of materials as well as excretion. A food chain shows the transfer of energy through the ecosystem. A food web shows interrelated food chains. Energy pyramids show how energy is used in the ecosystem. Some energy is transferred to organisms, while most energy is lost as heat. Organisms within an ecosystem interact with one another in many ways. A producer or autotroph makes its own food from the sun. A consumer or heterotroph eats other organisms. Herbivores eat plants, carnivores eat animals, and omnivores eat both plants and animals. A deer is a herbivore, a lion is a carnivore, and humans are omnivores. There are many other examples. A predator kills its food. Okay, kids, listen, I'm doing the best I can. This is going really fast, and I'm gotta just take it as it comes. So, predators feed upon prey. A lion, can you believe me? A lion and a zebra, there's the bell, I gotta go home now, are examples of predator and prey. Scavengers eat dead organisms. Examples of scavengers are hyenas and crows. Some organisms live in symbiotic relationships. This means that they have a relationship with one another. Sometimes the relationship is good. Sometimes it is harmful. Mutualism is a type of relationship where both organisms benefit. Remember Finding Nemo, the clownfish and the sea anemone? They protect each other from predators. Commensalism is an example of where one organism benefits while the other is neither helped nor harmed, such as a whale and barnacles. Parasitism is a relationship where one organism benefits while the other is harmed. An example is a tapeworm and a dog or human. Decomposers break down materials and recycle them back into the ecosystem to be reused. Examples are fungi and bacteria. Ecosystems remain relatively stable, but the organisms that live within them are constantly changing the environment. Ecological succession is the process in which existing communities within the ecosystem are replaced by another community. Ecological succession depends on plants. For example, let's suppose there was a fire in the forest. Primary succession occurs first, where there is no existing life. Over time, lichen and mosses, which are producers, will begin to grow slowly on rocks. These are called pioneer organisms. In secondary succession, grasses, shrubs, and trees begin to grow. Succession continues until a stable community develops. This is called a climax community. The type of climax community is determined by physical factors in the environment, such as rain and soil. Animal and plant life affect the climax community. The community remains stable until something disrupts it. What is biodiversity? There are many varieties or species of organisms within the biosphere. This is called biodiversity. Biodiversity is important because organisms depend upon one another for survival. Biodiversity provides for a stable ecosystem. Stable ecosystems have provided us with food and medicine, as well as other resources we need to survive. Human activity often disrupts biodiversity within an ecosystem. Humans overhunt, destroy forests, and introduce foreign species into stable communities. This can lead to species becoming endangered or extinct. Human impact on the environment means that humans have the ability to change the environment and upset the natural ecosystem, resulting in negative effects. Some of these disruptions can never be corrected or reversed. Human interactions with the environment include our need for clean air and water, food, soil, and living space. These needs have had catastrophic effects on the world as a whole, and now we are trying to repair that damage. Human impact on the environment includes population growth, over-farming, soil erosion, deforestation, misuse of pesticides, overhunting, and pollution. Population growth has lessened the areas available for natural species to live, as humans continue to build in areas that were available only to wildlife. Humans use the most natural resources on the planet. Humans use technology without understanding the effects on the environment. Humans destroy and utilize forests without consequences. See, you're making me scratch, guys. To the biodiversity, which destroys species. Humans pollute the air, causing acid rain. Polluted water and soil negatively impact the ecosystem. The emissions of greenhouse gases from fossil fuels, such as carbon dioxide, have contributed to global warming, destroying the ozone layer, which protects us from the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. We're on a pause. Contributing to our planet's rising temperature. Humans import foreign species across ecosystems, upsetting the natural balance, resulting in threats to habitats and species survival. This is known as invasive species. Humans overharvest organisms such as fish, threatening the survival of the species. But don't despair! We can fix this by conserving or preserving our resources by using them wisely and reusing and recycling materials. We can reduce pollution and come up with alternative safe energy sources. We can use biological controls instead of pesticides to control insects. We must continue to work on repairing the damage we have caused and find a balance to protect our Earth and its inhabitants. We can do it, folks. This is the final podcast. Yay! I hope you have learned about yourself and your world and the role you play in it. I wish you the best of success on your Regents. If you take your time and read, you will ace the exam. Don't leave any blanks on the test. Try your best. With a little effort, if you believe, you will achieve.